Guys, hello, and this is the gym edition of Connie. So before you watch the video, please like and share, like and subscribe. Be sure to like, and also be sure to visit my sister channel, The Laws of Enchantress. Okay, guys, I decided to come on the spur of the moment because I like to talk about money, and we're hearing this about Jay-Z and Rihanna. It is absolutely amazing. I like to see people make money. I am not allergic to money. If you're making money, you are my friend because we're all here on Hashes for Economics to be economically empowered. And it's not a dream. It's not impossible. Oh, thank you. This is my gym wig. It's my gym wig. I'm about to go to the gym. Thank you. So it's not impossible. I know a lot of times we talk about wealth, and I just think we're not speaking a proper wealth language. Let's start with poverty first. I'm going to show you how poverty and understanding poverty is actually the key to building wealth. Unless you're too young, I think we can all remember MC Hammer. MC Hammer was one of the first rappers to sell like 12 million records. I think he was in the Guinness Book of Records for like 12 million. For those of you who know MC Hammer, like he was a hot 90s rapper. He was really popular. And today he drives a taxi. Then you had Allen Iverson, big NBA star, very famous, and Allen Iverson was in bankruptcy. Then you have Lil Wayne for the young people, younger people. Lil Wayne, hey Michaela, is still rapping, but a lot of people don't know Lil Wayne actually, hey Michaela, actually filed for bankruptcy. A lot of people do not know that Jay-Z actually had to give him about $10 million to keep his assets afloat. Then you had Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is probably one of the most famous boxers who, in our time, I can't say who ever lived because you have other people. And guess what? He was bankrupt. You know, people say, well, it wasn't his fault. Well, what I'm trying to prove to you is that the knowledge is the true power. Tony Braxton went bankrupt. Wesley Snipes went bankrupt. He had tax problems. One of the guys from the Isley Brothers, I forgot his name, you know, Mr. Biggs. He used to sing those songs. The reason why I'm telling you consistent poverty stories is because every single person I just said was giving a tremendous, Ron Isley, thank you. Every single person I just said was giving a tremendous amount of wealth. And so many times we put it into our subconsciousness that if you don't have this wealth, if you're not born into it, you cannot acquire it. We look at celebrities and say they got lucky. They absolutely did not get lucky. Jay-Z's money and Rihanna's money was very intentional, very purposeful. It was Jay-Z's entire path to become a billionaire. He talked about it all the time. And also there's life and death in the tongue. What you say, what you do, what you believe, you shall achieve. What you expect is what you're gonna get. So I just named to you several people: Wesley Snipes, Ron Isley, Tony Braxton, Allen Iverson, MC Hammer. There's a lot of people who went to prominence and they lost it. Even the average lotto winner, I was doing some research, I was shocked to see that the average lottery winner, I'm just typing something in to get the statistics. Most of them are in poverty after. So what does that mean? So many of us are so focused, if you don't have it, you can never have it. That's absolutely not true. Every single person that gets wealth, most of them are an entrepreneur. And when they become an entrepreneur, they diversify their income. These things you don't learn. Americans and most working people were hardwired to only have one job, one career. Even if you're a doctor, a lawyer, it's very risque because if you lose your ability to perform surgery or be a doctor, exactly, Delilah Pearl, Serene Williams. So if you're listening to this, you're like, what does this got to do with me? How can this help me? The whole point is you have to learn to diversify your skill set. You have to learn to become an entrepreneur. You're in a very exciting time. Social media can connect you to your customer more than ever before. It's changing real estate. It's changing banking. It's even changing, how people shop for groceries. I'm able to shop for groceries on Fresh Direct. It's even changing the way people get basic services. People aren't using phone books anymore. We're connected to our social media, to our Facebook, to our Twitter, to our Instagram. And a lot of us spend so much social time on these things and don't really utilize this time for anything effective. Just think, to yourself as you're watching this video, all the time you spend on social media, on YouTube and Facebook. Just think how much time, if you were to cut that in half and actually focus on building wealth. It's not impossible. Jay-Z was very purposeful, Rihanna was very purposeful, Serena was very purposeful, meaning that this was their goal, to come into these genres and dominate. You don't have to be a rapper, you don't have to be a singer, you don't have to be a tennis player. What you need to do is focus on entrepreneurship. There's definitely some key things that are there, but the main thing is not to start a business that's going to draw money and you don't have it. It's also doing research. A lot of the careers that make a lot of money and doesn't have a high degree attached to it, that's high yield, high profit. So a lot of people of color, especially Black women, we really are disconnected from wealth because no one talks to us about diversifying. Even if you have an amazing paying job, you need to make sure you're constantly diversifying your income. Savings doesn't make you rich. You have to invest money because money is constantly changing. For instance, I was watching, I forgot the name of the movie. There's a movie, classic movie, A Bronx Tale. And in that movie, they were talking about Mickey Mantle making $100,000 back in the 50s. $100,000 back in the 50s is like $1 million, $10 million now. That's because money decreases over time, because inflation, everything gets expensive. So if you're only putting your money in the bank, this is basic 101, and you're not investing it, every single year, it gets worth less and less. So you gotta constantly invest your money, put it into things that's gonna give you more money, and some of us don't even have basic knowledge on what are the top ways to do that. So if you're listening to this video, the number one thing to do is become an entrepreneur. And there's so many ways you can do this without having $10,000. When I say entrepreneur, people say, Connie, I don't have money to start a business. I don't have good credit to start a business, or I don't have, access to a loan or whatever it may be. That's perfectly fine. You're in a world now where you can start a business and you don't have to go crazy doing all these things. You have access to LinkedIn. You can freelance your services. You have access to Instagram. I never thought I would see the day that people are advertising plastic surgery. Doctors are advertising plastic surgery on Instagram. So you truly have the prospects and the possibility to go out there and do that. It's your mindset. So many of us are caught in a 9-to-5 mindset. And I hate to tell you, the top entrepreneurs, the top billionaires in the world, the wealthiest people, they did not get rich working 9 to 5. Even if you're a doctor, a lawyer, you didn't get rich that way, because that's not the way to build wealth. When you're working for someone else, you don't have control on your worth. For instance, I met a young lady that I'm coaching one-on-one, and she's working for a company. I don't want to say because it's private, but I'm working with her, coaching and helping her with her career. And she told me she's been working for the same company and she got a very small raise over 10 years. But over that 10 years, she really changed her background, meaning that she got certifications, she went back to school. So she's not the same employee they hired over 10 years. She has job stability, vacation, medical, all that great stuff, but the actual economics, she's losing because she went back to school, she got a PhD, a master's, and of course, if I'm an employer, I'm absolutely going to love that. If you're getting all these credentials and getting all this experience, you become a more, valuable employee. But guess what? I determine your worth, not you. Your employee determines your worth. Even if the quality of your work is worth more than what you're giving, they don't care because you put your skills and your talent in somebody's hands. Entrepreneurs don't do that. Jay-Z didn't do that. Rihanna didn't do that. They said, this is my worth, this is what I'm doing, and they get it. Also, a lot of people don't understand how money is made. We're so used to being told you work an hour, you get paid by an hour, you break it down. We're so used to being told you have to work 60, 70 hours a week. You got to break your back. You got to cry. You got to die. Why would you be working exactly the same people did 100 years ago? There's so much innovation into our world, it doesn't really make sense to make money the same exact year. There's so many things. Learning should be more advanced. Technology should be more advanced. Information should be more up to date. Why? Because this is not meant to make you rich and financially free. My goal is to become financially free, and I'm heading right to my goal. I hope your goal is the same. Their goal is to turn you into a polished, conservative, obedient worker. And that might work for some people. Some people don't have the self-obedience to work for themselves. Some people don't have the self-guidance. It's not easy. It's not easy because you are the boss. And it might sound cute, but there's nobody to harass you. There's no threat of you're gonna get up late for work. You really have to do everything all on your own. Some people lack those leadership qualities because it's not taught to them in school. So if you wanna be an entrepreneur, it's taking full accountability for your success or failures, full accountability for what's gonna happen. You can't blame anybody. You're the captain of the ship. So when that young lady came to me and she was upset because she's invested so much in her career and she doesn't feel the raise they were giving to her is equivalent to her updated knowledge, I said that's their fault. Like, I mean, that's her fault. Like, the company's not going to give you dollar for dollar. Their job is to get the best employee with the best education, the best worker for the least they can possibly pay you, no matter what job you're doing, to make you get the maximum output for the least input. And once we start to understand that, when you work for yourself, you can name your price. You don't have to put the money you earn based on how many hours. Like, for instance, people get mad at CEOs. They get mad at Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. They get mad at Bill Gates, CEO of Microsoft. Why do they get mad? Because these people make a lot of money. They say, how can they make $50 billion a year? And if you were to break that down by 8 hours, it's because he owns a company that makes a mass amount of money. And you're still stuck in the lack mindset where you're getting paid per hour. If you're stuck in that mindset where your earnings should be directly related to how many hours you're working, you're already not on track. Because if that's the case, a lot of people doing minimal jobs would be the richest people in the world. People who do the most physical labor would be the richest in the world. That's not how it works. What works is the value of that product, the value of that service. So you can be doing something for 3 hours that's extremely lucrative and pay 10 times more than somebody out there mowing my lawn for 12 hours straight. That's not how it works. So that's the first thing. You got to break out of that hour per hour, pay per pay mindset, because that type of mindset will keep you locked in and limited. The second thing you want to do is do a discovery on yourself. Every single person, as you're listening to this video, has skill sets that could be lucrative, and exactly, and they don't believe in it. You know, if a company's not using your current skill set, you don't believe in it. So there's people who are good at doing makeup, doing hair, especially women. I don't think women realize, especially black women, how much they drive the economic market. You're one of the biggest buyers in fashion, makeup, beauty supplies, shoes, perfume. You guys are really big consumers. But yet, when you look at how much that you're getting from this, you're not getting anything. So you can even review the top 10 things that we spend as a demographic so you can have a lucrative business. You can look I was looking at that list in my private group, and it was showing you what black women buy. We spend billions, millions of dollars, perfume, makeup, jewelry, shoes, bag, vacation, household products, cosmetics, all this stuff. But yet, when you look at the flip side, none of us are in these actual businesses. So if you're nervous about starting something, you want to take a look at the reports so you can actually make an educated choice and don't have to stab blind. A lot of times when I do see sisters starting businesses, they're stabbing blind. You have to have a money mindset. When you get rich, then you can open up the rabbit farm. When you get rich, then you can do hand-painted porcelain dolls with your cat. What I mean is that sometimes we let our passions get in the path of our money. I want to tell you the biggest lie that one of my financial advisors, I was working with this Jewish financial advisor, and he kept it so real. You know what I'm saying? He wiped his forehead and fixed the yarmulke. The biggest lie, hey Deb, that most of us are told about making money, diversifying your money, is only do what you love. You got to follow your passion. You have to stick to it to the end. And if you love it, you won't give up. You keep going. I'm not saying for you to involve yourself in something you totally hate. There's a balance. But if you think everybody on Wall Street loves the stock market, that's wrong. If you think everybody that works in hedge funds love a hedge fund, you're wrong. If you think people like to do any type of work, any human would like to push a button, win the lottery, and do no work. Nobody wants to work. I don't care how wonderful your career is, unless you're doing a charitable organization, unless you're getting paid for doing volunteer work or nonprofit, that's different. But nobody really wants to work. You try to make your work enjoyable. But if I said, here's $50 million, you never have to work again, or your dream job, I would like to think 99% of the people are going to get their $50 million. So what does that mean? That means be money focused. Try as much as you can to find those careers that pay the most, but you can also somewhat enjoy them. Remember, the one story I love is The Rock. The Rock, you know, the wrestler, he didn't want to be a wrestler like his father. His father's a wrestler. And they were interviewing him one day. And he said his dream was to be an NFL player. I don't think a lot of people know that Rock tried twice and he failed. And that's all he wanted. He said his life dream was to be an NFL player. He eat, breathe, and sleep football. And he pursued his dream and said, I'm not giving up. And guess what? He literally ran out of money and had to go stay with his parents in the parents' basement. And he said he had like $2.12 to his name. And he said he looked at that last money he had and said, you know, he looked at that money he had and he said, I will never be this broke again. He said, I will never be this broke again. And he focused on what he can do to be profitable. He said, hey, my dad's a wrestler. Even though I don't want to be a wrestler, I have wrestling connections. And I think the rest is history. We all know The Rock was one of the most famous entertainment wrestlers. He went on to have a huge Hollywood career. I think he still has it. And the funny thing, when he told this story, when they were interviewing him, I think he has a show, I'm not sure which channel, on HBO, okay? I think a show on HBO, and he actually plays a sports agent where he finds a talent for a football team. So even though he never made it to an actual NFL, at the end of the day, he came back to it. So he said, I'm not playing football, but I play an actor that works in the football entertainment industry. So he's like this high profile scouter on I think it's an HBO show. Some of you guys may have seen it. So eventually he got somewhat of his dream to play into that society, whatever. But the point is, if he was stubborn and said, I'm not doing no wrestling, he would never have been The Rock. You know, if he said, I don't care, this is not for me, you have to be money-based. A lot of people don't know The Rock is a Republican. He's a registered Republican. I can't remember the show, Deb, but it was a good show. I caught it a couple of times, but I can't remember the show. I don't know if it's still on. But the moral of that story is, stop letting people tell you forfeit money. Don't look at money. Don't look at profits. Don't look at debt. Don't look how much these degrees have debt. Nobody else is doing that. And because you're not doing that, you're missing out on real financials. So for instance, a lot of people don't know you don't need a college degree to go into real estate. I think every single person, I'm sorry, even if you don't want to sell, even for the knowledge, you can't meet every single person, especially young people. You can become a real estate agent at 18. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care. Just the knowledge, just to know about investments, buying a home. The information you get is so crucial. Everybody should get their real estate license. It takes like 2 weeks. It's what is it? Most states are 180 hours. Most states, it's pretty cheap. Don't get beat in the head with those fancy smancy classes. Take the cheapest class. Go on Groupon. I love Groupon. I'm a Groupon junkie. Groupon is amazing. You can get so many things on Groupon. Definitely go on there. I'm on Groupon all the time. I find good deals. So that's what I'm saying. Like, from the time you're 18. But it's so funny. Schools, high schools, colleges, they don't teach you that real estate is paramount. It's a paramount part of a successful portfolio. Every rich person got that in common. And it's the easiest way to build wealth. You have to know how to leverage a real estate career. I talk about that in my Hashtag But Life and my Laws of Enchantress, because there's certain things you can do, certain industries within the real estate that you can do is more profitable. We can talk about that later, but real estate is extremely broad. You can do appraisals, you can do a lot of different stuff in real estate, commercial, residential, luxury. You know, find your little thing, and you can start focusing on it and networking. They have so many careers that don't require a college degree, and especially people, hey, 123, who can't afford to go to college, or people that want to get money to pay for it, don't know. A lot of people don't know to work on Wall Street. A lot of these tests to pass your Series 7, your Series 66, your Series 63, it is not absolutely necessary to have a college degree. Will it help? Yes. But when I'm in Wall Street, walking on Gold Street, I see Jewish people that are extremely young that, unless they graduated when they were 19, 20, they didn't get the degree. They're in the industry. They're working. They're shouting on the floor. So you want to make sure that you review all these things. Every town or state will be different. So thank you. Thank you, 123. Every town and state will be different, but it's really important for you to understand you could be a loan officer. You don't need a degree. And I'm not pushing not having an education, but we need to look at the statistics that there's a lot of black women. I'm a black woman, you're a black woman. There's a lot of black women that are not working in their fields. I do career coaching every single day. I was doing HR for over 20 years. I've worked for some of the biggest companies in retail, and I can honestly tell you, woo, I know it's challenging because I see sisters with PhDs and masters, and even when we hire women of color, they statistically get paid much less. And it's I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to put my video over, but it's statistically true. I'm speaking to statistical fact that we get paid much less and we don't get hired in those positions. And even when we do, I'm going to tell you the secret. It doesn't matter how educated you are in that realm. You have to have inside network. You have to have somebody in the boardroom caping for you. I try my best to cape for my sisters when I'm there, especially when I see they're qualified, especially when I see they're more than qualified. But I think to myself, what about all the other black women working in these companies where there's no diversity or inclusion? So I just want to teach you a word right now. You ever heard the thing diversity and inclusion? Because companies were just hiring people of color, let's say black women, and not really doing anything with them, not advancing them, not caring. They're just filling quotas. So a lot of them got called out on it, and then they came up with inclusion, which means diversity, and you might want to actually include them in your workforce. You might want to actually include them in your actual workforce, not just having them stand around. So you have to understand that even if you get in that workforce and you're not supported, you don't have a network, you're not having dinner with the boss, you're not making those social networks, because human beings, whether we like it or not, especially women, we're social creatures. So you can be the best worker, the best performer. If they don't really blend with you, if they don't feel comfortable with you. There was an HR question that was going around during an interview, and the EEOC actually stepped in and was like, you can't ask this question. They were saying, oh, you should only hire people you want to have a beer with, or would you have a beer with this person? Human beings tend to like to hang out with people they're familiar with. And if you're not familiar with minorities, women of color, you're not going to want to have a beer with them. You're going to want to just bond. It's a natural human instinct with people who are familiar to you. And if you're not familiar hanging out with diverse people, you're going to keep picking people who look like you. That's just a natural thing. And that can be highly discriminatory. And it can be stressful. And I tell women all the time, you have to diversify your skill set. I don't care if you make 6 figures. I don't care if you make 200,000. There are people richer than you that go bankrupt. You need to understand that. When I try to talk these talks, oh, she's anti this. I'm absolutely not anti this. Anybody that has a high net worth has learned to diversify themselves, meaning that they spread their skills. They try to do as much as they can. But the point is not to do this for the long term, do this for the short term so you can build wealth fast. Look at Jay-Z. He went from 0 to billionaire before he turned 50. Look at Rihanna. She went from 0 to 600 million before she turned 30. Why? Because their goal is financial freedom. Their goal is to build abundance. And do not be scared and intimidated if you don't have a lot. It's a huge misconception. There are people who have a lot, but because they don't know about investments and banking and debt and credit, because they don't know that money has no worth to it if you're not continually growing it. And what I mean by that, Watch an old show like The Honeymooners or one of these old 50 shows, and they talk about that fridge is so expensive. It costs a whole 15 cents. You're like, and you might laugh and say, look how cheap things were back then. It wasn't cheap. What you're seeing now is inflation. You can do it, blessed Vivi. What you're seeing now is every single year, every single day, as you're watching this video and the seconds are ticking by, everything slowly goes up in price. So if you're not increasing or investing or getting more money coming in, your net worth will shrink. That's why people who have worth, they invest here, they invest there. They're constantly trying to increase their money because they want to stay way ahead of inflation and way ahead of the normal increase of cost of living. It's a normal increase. Inflation and cost of living increases are completely separate. So that's why you see rich people, you might say, oh my God, they're greedy. They're not greedy. They're actually really smart. They know if I put $1 million in the bank, and 100 years from now, that $1 million in the bank will probably be like $100,000. How $100,000 was in the 1950s, that's like $10 million now. Like, it's just a lot. I was looking at this report. This guy got rich back in 1953. And in 1953, he got $250,000. And they were like, oh, he's so rich. So I put it in the calculator and I was doing the math. $250,000 in 1953 was 2.3 million plus today. I'll say it again. $250,000 in 1953 is equivalent to over $2.3 million plus today. Just think about how much inflation has happened, the cost of living has occurred. So that's why getting wealth is not enough. That's why getting wealth is just not enough. Because you have so many people like Allen Iverson or MC Hammer or Tony Braxton or Ron Isley or even Wesley Snipes. They took in a lot of money. Okay, and they still were able to find themselves back in poverty or bankrupt. It's because the knowledge is absolutely imperative. And don't be intimidated, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are. There's a way for you to find something within you. Just search the market, look around. Like for instance, I'm trying to pull up this file. Okay. Because it's really important for you to know that the basics of wealth building, we don't do. You have to learn about debt, how to use debt. You have to learn about taxes, okay? How to use taxes. You have to learn about spending and how to utilize your spending in the right way to make money, okay? You have to understand financial freedom versus just paying bills and having your rent paid or mortgage paid. You have to understand that. And we don't learn wealth building tools. What society teaches you is what they need from you. They teach you to be a good, polished worker. And honestly, like I said, not throwing shade, there's going to be some people who can't manage working. Working doesn't mean you get up by 5 p.m., you do what you want to do, you don't really care. You go to the store. Like there was a hardware store back in Brooklyn when I was younger. I think I complained about this hardware store all the time. And my mom used to send me, it was called Henry's Hardware Store. And I think it was on Gates, not Gates, it was, I think Kosciuszko, Gates, whatever, back in Brooklyn, the hood. And I would go to this hardware store and they never had anything there. I'm like, why are you open? They had no nails, no glue. They did whatever they wanted. Eventually this hardware store closed down years after, but it's because they ran it like a hobby. Do not take on entrepreneurship if you're going to run it like a hobby. It's not a hobby. Working for yourself is twice as hard. There's no one to discipline you, so you need discipline. There's no one to write you up if you're late. So if you oversleep, that's all you. There's no one to monitor your work. So you really have to prepare yourself with organization skills, time management skills. You really want to make sure you do that. Because if you don't do that, running a business is impossible. And you'll see very intelligent people, very creative people, very educated people, and they fail. And you'll see some guy with street smarts come in and hustle the hell out of something and make his way. And it's because he's running it as a business, okay? Running it as a business doesn't take an advanced PhD from Harvard. It doesn't. Jayz proved that, okay? Rihanna proved that. Ciara proved that. They're all brands. But you're like, what can I do in real life? So this is a list that I have. Okay? That's my cat. When I talk, he talks. Ignore the feline, okay? Ignore the feline. So these are businesses that you can start, your son can start. There was an impressive young black boy, I forgot his name, very smart brother, and he actually was in the stock market by 14. He made $50,000. Guys, investments, stock markets, real estate, the stuff they don't teach you is what's going to build wealth and build it fast. Working for someone does not build wealth. It just means your bills will be paid. Okay, you'll always have food, your lights won't get turned off, you'll be able to buy clothing. It doesn't build wealth. Like I said, if you're not investing, you're not gonna have it. And the whole dream is to have freedom, to be able to travel, spend time with your kids, be able to do what you want to do, and finally become financially free. It's not impossible. So what I want to teach you about is making sure when you start a business, don't get beat in the head, son. Don't start businesses that take more money or demand more money than you actually have. It's a scam. I be seeing all these things that talk about start a business and this and that, and they want $3,000, $4,000. If you don't have that, you don't spend it. Just like the stock market. Stock market is investing. But if you were to lose it and you're homeless, probably not a good idea. Don't invest what you can't afford to lose. Okay, so don't do it. There's several things you can do. I have my little geek list that I've made from like 15 years ago when I used to do one-on-one coaching for students. So I'm going to go through it with you. If you're good at bookkeeping, okay, you can start your own bookkeeping business. If you're great with numbers and you want to work from the comfort of your home, you can do bookkeeping. You can do freelance bookkeeping. You don't got to be a certified public accountant, but you do need to be good with numbers. And most of these people don't like to hire a CPA because CPAs are expensive. There's lots of free ways to use online invoicing tools such as Site.com and payment tools like Do.com, okay? Things that bookkeeping services do, you got to be good with numbers, all right? Creating balance sheets, providing income statements, creating various monthly, quarterly, or financial reports. So if you got a smaller business or independent business, you can freelance this. The next thing that's getting really hot for men and women is a personal or virtual assistant. A lot of people don't want to pay for the office space. Even big companies like Google, Amazon, they're doing a lot of remote HR, remote management. Why? Because these office buildings in the city, hey, Jess Whitley, cost a lot of money. If you're in Manhattan like I was, my company was like, oh no, we'll pay you from remote, because it is outrageous the amount it costs to have an office in New York. New York rent is like ridiculous. So a lot of companies that are in California, Silicon Valley, they'll opt to have smaller office spaces and have their workers work remote, okay? So you can be a personal virtual assistant. It doesn't sound glamorous, but they do pay well. They pay well. I know several virtual assistants that make over 6 figures, make about 70,000, 80,000. Hey, hi Cat Cookie. It's not impossible, but you can find digital versions that allow more freedom. You can use services like Upwork. You make your own clients, you make your own hours, your own hourly, your pay rate. So if you're a virtual assistant, you're like, Connie, and what? You pick it. You can literally pick whatever you want. You can have one resume be a virtual assistant, just like a basic one, secretarial, whatever. Or if you want to get more money for your services, you can specialize. Like if you want to do legal virtual assistant, fashion virtual assistant, business virtual assistant, I don't know, anything you could think of, because some people like to hire specialized virtual assistant, but it's all about how you present and marketing yourself. Okay, so they have another thing that's getting big right now, social media consultants. A lot of companies are looking to hire people to manage your social media. Like I saw ads from Groupon looking for social media consultants. I saw ads from Fresh Direct, and like these grocery lines are looking for people to manage their social media. So that's a lot of money, okay? Now they also have affiliate marketing, which is extremely easy to get into. You earn commission by promoting stuff. Then you have secretarial services, virtual, which anyone can do if you're good at strong organization skills, good communication skills, time management skills. If you're good at bookkeeping, you can offer secretarial skills from your home. And you'll be surprised. You can go on LinkedIn, you can go on Craigslist, you can go on Upwork, you can go on Fiverr and advertise your services and literally start your business the next day. So you have all these amazing outlets that have freelancing postings for free. I mean, you can post your stuff for free, okay? They have a lot of interesting things. If you're good with the internet, if you're good with computer, you can be hired for a website consultant. You can, if you know how to make websites, that's gold right there, okay? You can do tax consultant if you're good with taxes. You can go around and freelance that. Companies pay big and small money to anyone who prepare the taxes for them. You can get paid to do resume writing. You can get paid to be a translator, English. They have a site now that actually hires people to teach people English overseas. But I saw it's about $15 to $25 an hour. So it's a little tap, tap, tap. Or what apps do I use? Ooh, I have a lot of apps that I have on my computers. So it depends. And like I said, when it comes to investing, work with a licensed financial advisor, because even if they're licensed, they have to have a certain license, like a Series 7, a Series 66, because you have to be legally licensed to sell financial products. So depending on what you want to do, you have to work with them. I strongly recommend. So if you're investing, I don't even think you can buy stocks if you don't work with a licensed investor, like a financial advisor or stockbroker. So I like Robinhood. Let me see. I use E-Trade. They have Stash. Robinhood is good. Stash is good. So these are the top ones that I like: Stash, Vault, Personal Capital, Stockpile, Wealthfront, Corny, E-Trade. I do very safe, conservative things because if I lose what I invest, I'm not gonna die. Okay? If I start to play with the big boys and I die, like here's 25,000, 40,000. If I lose that, I might lose some sleep. So let's just say you're good at editing. Anybody's a writer here. You can start to freelance editorial services, copywriting, ghostwriting, and everything I'm telling you, you can do from the comfort of your home. Okay, a lot of people are going into remote work and they're doing several different things, meaning that the cool thing about remote work, you can do several different ventures, you could diversify your skill set, you could do different things. This is how you build your empire. Even if you're wealthy, no wealthy person stays in one lane. They grow and they grow and they grow. Once one thing gets moving, they grow. When things get moving, they grow. We have been trained, oh, I got a good job, I'm gonna sit there for the next 40 years. I'm not mocking anyone, but literally I know people who spent 40, 50 years in the institution, they resigned, and they couldn't even get their son or daughter a job there because you don't own anything. So if you're good at meal planning, you can become a certified nutritionist. If you're good at, if you're a nurse, and you want to make money on the side, if you're in the medical field, they also are looking for patient advocacy services. You can do this on the phone, help people track down hospitals for paperwork, gather bills for the insurance, argue cases with insurance companies. People in need of these services are likely grieving, older, elderly, leaving them fragile, vulnerable to this type of thing, often unable to defend themselves. So patient advocacy services is a great way for nurses or anybody doing that. So yeah, 7 streams is good. And you can do e-commerce store. You can start selling on Amazon, do drop shipping. You can do a lot of different things. You could do telecommunications, call center, travel planning. You can open your own travel platform and book stuff for people and have a travel. There's just so much you can do that if you don't know about it, it's gonna be really impossible to know about it. So I'm giving you this to give you ideas, but everything I told you, you can do remote. I haven't said one thing where you have to leave the house. You can do remote as long as you have a camera, as long as you're willing to do the physical work, and that's it. And you can do this work from anywhere. You could be on vacation, but it takes discipline. Just because it's remote work doesn't mean it's not remote work. You still have to work. And I'm going to be honest with you, not everyone has a discipline to get this work done. Especially if you're the type that likes to do things at the last minute, that's not for you, okay? So I'm gonna tell you about several businesses that you can start for less than like $50 that can be very profitable. Let me just get myself comfortable here with my mouse. My cat is like biting my feet down there. Okay, so let me just try to, get down there. Okay. So for those of us who like to write books, if you're good at making programs, if you're good at something, you can go on ClickBank eProducts. So I've been talking about this because I know so many black women who are just so talented in doing things, and you can actually sell your skill set. You can start a digital product business with no investment, open an account on clickbank.com for free and promote items on your Facebook page or blog. Once you earn a few commissions, you can pay $50, start a vendor account, then create a PDF book on any topic you want or anything and sell. Okay? Yeah, Gigi's going crazy. Another thing that's really cool, if you are a handy woman, is house painting. In many states like Florida, for example, you don't need a license to be a painting contractor. And if you start indoor painting, you can get by with minimal equipment. If you're like, Connie, I have no handy skills, but you're interested, I know a lot of very talented black women do it yourself. If you want to learn more, guess what? Check your nearest Home Depot. If you got a big Home Depot like I do in the city, Home Depot has free, thorough, very explicit workshops, and they can actually offer you some practice painting. So there's a guy that actually started his own painting business, and I think his name is Matt Shop. Matt, Mattshoup, and there was a report in US Newsweek. He started his paint shop business with only $100, went door to door, eventually built a painting business with an annual revenue of 2.5 million. Okay, that is crazy. So for those of us who live in the city, like San Diego, San Francisco, Manhattan, New York, or if you live in an area where you notice there's a lot of dogs, pet sitting is highly covetable. All right, if you're in Manhattan like me, people treat their dogs like humans. So pet sitters can charge as much as $100 for one overnight stay, and $20 is typical for 20 minutes. People love their animals, okay? So you can start by offering your services to friends and family and use profits to build your professional credentials, perhaps by joining organizations like the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. When I was doing the research, I didn't know they had a National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. People love their animals, okay? To grow the business into a large income, just advertise on Instagram, advertise on Facebook. Use your hashtags, pay for an ad on Facebook, pay for an ad on Instagram. These ads are super cheap. One of my favorite things that's been helping a lot of my sisters, you're gonna love me right now. This one makes a lot of money, okay? If you don't like people, it might be hard, but it makes an astounding amount of money. A lot of black women who couldn't find work, I say, hey, did you go to school? Yeah, I got my master's in physics. Ooh, did you go to school? Yeah, I got my master's in mathematics, or I got a master's in engineering or business. Did you know that tutoring is one of the most profitable industries that requires almost zero startup? Tutoring is also a business you can start like for less than $100, probably not even for anything. It could be more difficult to market if it wasn't for the internet, but because of the internet, it's better now, and word of mouth spreads. So if you want to help students with academic topics and you're not used to it yet, you can sign up for websites like tutor.com. And if you prefer to tutor people on a wider variety of subjects, let's just say, Connie, I want to tutor, I got patience, but I don't really have a subject I like. They even have people that pay for tutoring in chess, pay for tutoring in sports, pay for tutoring in cooking, and I would say make sure it's a safe area, or singing, okay? They actually have a website called wysant.com. So wysant.com. So you literally can get paid for it. I'll tell you, I'm not crazy about you freelancing your services through a second party. If you want to do that to get some money while you pick up your own clients, yes, because they take a big piece out of the money you make. But if you're just brand new and you want some type of income as you're doing tutoring, great. Then when you build your own clientele, you can have them pay you directly. Because for instance, somebody that got hired from, I was helping 3 girls and they went on tutor.com. By the time they got paid, it wasn't bad. They got about $42, $41 an hour, but that's not what they were being charged. They were charging the people like 125. So if you start tutoring college students, or you tutor for the LSATs or SATs, look to see per state if there's certifications you need or certain qualifications. But most people just want you to tutor them. Okay, as long as you do a good job, you're confident, you know, it's really good. It's a really good way. Something else that I love, this is for people that live in fun states, sorry. If you live in New York and Florida or California or Colorado, or I'm thinking of states people like to visit, I don't know, Maine. If you live in a state with a booming tour industry, you can actually promote yourself as a tour guide. Let me tell you how. This is true. When my fiance was first coming from England, he didn't know any better. And he was booking all these New York things. I said, oh, I'm your tour guide. Don't worry about it. But out of curiosity, he forwarded it to me and I looked at it out of curiosity. I could not believe how much money these independent people, younger than me, younger than you, no education, they charging like $250 to tour Soho and NoHo. They're charging like $300 to walk around Times Square. It is ridiculous. So if you have a great tourist industry, even if you're not savvy with the iconic places, get a book, get a New York City book, tour guide book. It's free. Just type in New York City tour guide good PDF, and make sure you look decent. Don't be looking like Ghostface Killer. Don't be looking crazy. But ODB. Don't be looking You got to make sure you look friendly, presentable, because people from different countries are gonna be wanting to walk around with you. Find out the cool spots in your area, the coolest spots, and you can actually get paid. Again, the internet has made the difference in lowering the barriers to starting a business like this. Forget about business cards. You can have one, but travel agencies like to recommend tour guides. If you know your area well, you could simply sign up with a website like viable.com. So if you know your area well, VAYABLE.com. And they can help you find customers for a cut of the revenue. That's a sucky thing, the cut of the revenue. But once you know the ropes and make money, you can encourage returning visitors to come and see you. So just do a test run with your friends, do a test run. Don't do your first tour on actual humans, do a test run. So when I took Jason all over New York, because he never been, the very first time he came was when he come to see me. And I did a good job because I know Manhattan very well. But I actually bought a tour guide book to see all the cool intricacies. There's really cool things that we overlook as a New Yorker, or anybody does. I learned a lot about my town, but it was a good tour guide, and he didn't have to spend the $1,500 that he was planning to spend. So that could be your money, and you could do as much tours as you want, or you could do group tours. Like for instance, when we went to Paris, we went to Lavoie, we went to France for my birthday, we paid the tour guide, but she had like 9 of us. She made money. It was like, I think it was like 12 people, and that one tour of the museum, I think it was $200 per person. Then to get into the museum, another $50. Listen, she made money. She was walking around with more than $1,000, much more than that, like $2,000 to $3,000 with us. Okay. The next thing, if you're really good, don't scoff, guys. Okay, is a cleaning service. Let me say it right here. We're not talking about cleaning people's houses. Okay, commercial places, shopping centers, shopping malls make a lot of money, and you can keep your startup costs low. I do not advise cleaning people's homes, because if you're freelancing, working independently, they do not pay. All right, I recommend you going to the SBA, which is the Small Business Association, register yourself as an LLC, and become a taxable business. Because in the cleaning industry, they like to hire people off the books and pay them 2 cents. No. So this is a low-cost way, and what I love about cleaning for commercial properties, they normally have specific tools. Most stores, according to their insurance, don't even allow you to come in and bring your own stuff. Like when I used to work in one of my bridal salons, and it was a corporation owned, I literally was not allowed to clean anything. Like I couldn't touch it. And the people that came in, my corporation would actually send them the specific cleaners and the machines to use, because every store is like so sensitive. So it's really important to understand this is a lucrative business. There's a woman named Carrie H. Johnson. Look her up. Carrie H as in Harry Johnson. And she was divorced and living in how do I say this nicely? Low income housing, the projects. And she started a cleaning business with her friends. She built it into a multi-million-dollar business. She now has a 165 employee count. Okay? She was living by herself, divorced in a low income housing. Okay? And what she did, she targeted commercial buildings, malls, big places that are not going to play around with her and haggle her. Once they book her, sign the contract, and they go. So you can go on and on. An errand service. My favorite is freelance bartending. The thing is to get enough money to start investing. And that's when you want to learn about financial advising. That's when you want to have a seminar. I want to tell you something. You can go into any bank, Chase, TD Bank, Santander. I don't know what banks they got in your state, but most banks give a free financial advising session. They're more than happy to talk to you because they think you might open a bank account, open a savings account. If you want to be nice, you can open something, but you don't have to. Most banks are more than happy to talk to you about finances, savings, monies, IRAs, Roths, so you can actually learn about investing. You don't have to pay $200, $300 for a personal private session. Most banks. So if you don't believe me, you can go on to Chase right now. Let's see, Chase. And you can book, sorry, we got cut off. But if you're, sorry about that. If you're shy, you can do it over the phone, and it's absolutely free. So if you're looking for specific investment and financial advice, go to the financial advisors. If you're talking about financial products, there's different types of wealth advice. You can have wealth advice like me, someone telling you how to diversify your income, utilize your skill sets, brainstorm with you, redirect your career. That's different. But anytime somebody talks to you about financial products, investing, stock markets, cryptocurrencies, by law, you can't even buy those things unless you're licensed. Like, you have to be approved by the stock trade and all this stuff. So you're pretty safe. But I strongly recommend that you have your free investments and go around to as many banks as you want. I tell people, go to Chase, go to every bank as much as you can that will give you free financial advice from an actual financial advisor in the bank. And if you want to make the most out of your session, you can actually go online and see what makes you curious, about real estate or anything that's a financial product, because they don't deal with telling you how to open a business, not like that. But what they do deal with is the actual financial products, the services that you can only buy. Even some financial advisors, if they didn't take their Series 7, their Series 66, their Series 63, they can't even sell you financial products. They have to be licensed like a Series 7. I think that's the golden standard. And they can sell you stocks, bonds. You can invest in Apple and Amazon. You can start buying stocks in the market through those actual people. So you're really protected. You don't have to worry because they have to be registered with NASDAQ and all these Wall Street stuff to even allow you to invest in those companies. So, yeah. So I'm really excited about 2019. I really hope you take this information, you're inspired, you're happy, you're hopeful, and instead of just shopping at Bloomingdale's, look at their stocks. Are they worth investing in? Instead of just shopping at Saks, instead of just buying Gucci, how is Gucci doing this year? Buy some stocks. Instead of just buying Fendi, instead of just being a consumer, get out of the consuming mode, because we are hardcore consumers. If we were to spend on a real estate license instead of a Gucci bag, spend on becoming a loan officer, spend on becoming an appraiser. There's so many ways to spend and get back a return. Every time you spend, you want to see how much you can get a return. Of course, you can go shopping and treat yourself, but you have to have a focus and a goal. And that focus and goal should be financial freedom, so you can live your life. And it's not that hard. Once you get that, you can open an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast. The whole point is to free yourself up so you can enjoy your life and actually build generational wealth and your legacy building. And then you can go to your passion. Then you can have the rabbit farm and the hamster farm. Then you can donate money to your favorite charity, but you can't be 100% passion based, okay? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the millionaires. I love what I do. I don't believe Bill Gates. You're not that hype looking at computer chips all day. You know there was money in there, okay? Love what you do when you get that paycheck. Love what you do when you open your bank account and you see 9 zeros. That's when you love it. And then eventually you get to the point where you can give back to your community. You can do a charitable organization. You can support whatever segment of society that you feel you're passionate about. But you got to make money first. It's like the airport thing. Okay, I'll close with this. It's like the airport, they tell you, secure your mask first. You gotta secure your mask first before you can secure other people next to you. You gotta be able to breathe comfortably before you help others. So I want you to breathe comfortably, then you feel safe to go out and help others. Think about financial wealth, financial freedom, just like Jay-Z did. Jay-Z became a billionaire because he was determined. Okay? That's right, Deb. That was his focus. You will always get what your focus is. It doesn't mean good or bad. It just means you're going to get what your focus is. That's it. If you consistently keep getting something in life, congratulations, that's your focus. You don't like what you're getting? Change your focus. Drop the dead weight. Drop the trauma bonding. Time is ticking and life is short. Live your life, enjoy your life. There's no limitations to what you can achieve as long as you believe. You're only going to get, what do I say? What you expect. So spend your time wisely. Start looking at social media as a way to cultivate your skill set. Start looking at social media as a way to encourage you to get into the entrepreneur mindset. Remember, Facebook is nothing but a bunch of people advertising to you. That's it. There's constant commercials everywhere you go. Now you can't even watch a video without seeing a commercial. You can't even watch a video without seeing a commercial. So remember, there's no limits to what you can do. And I really want to see every single person watching this video to know that you are not limited by anything except for your expectations. And don't let other people's limitations become your expectations. So thank you guys for watching. You can check out my Facebook page, #Economics and #Life. And you can also check out my Laws of Enchantress program on Laws of Enchantress Facebook page and my Laws of Enchantress channel. Be sure to like and subscribe.